To admirers, he is known as Justice Tiger Shah. And to loved ones, he is known as Mukesh Bhai. But for common people like us, for the past several years, he's been known as Your Lordship. Today, we are honored to have an exclusive conversation with Justice M.R. Shah of the Supreme Court, who just retired 2 days back. So thank you so much for taking time out and speaking to India today and agreeing to share your thoughts on several issues. So there is a criticism that is often said that you're a very conservative judge in your time in the High Court and in the Supreme Court. That it said, a lot of criticism, blogs also that I read, said that you seem to agree often with state-powered action, any action that is being taken by the state, as against an individual or liberty or any aspects like that. Is this a criticism you agree with?
Not at all. No, because that criticism, I don't know whether there is such a not. Correct, but it is far from truth. Correct. I have passed so many orders against the governments also. Correct. So many decisions, because some decisions might not have been liked by so many, but ultimately we have to consider the interest of the society at large. We are not, when we pass the judgment, correct, we are not considering who is in the government, who is in the power. But ultimately, whether it is in the interest of the nation or not, correct, that is why. And by considering that in the interest of nation, correct, if the orders are passed in favor of the government, correct, I should not be criticized, or nobody should be criticized for that. Conservative means, you see, I am coming from a state or place, correct, where we are we are conservative. We are conservative means conservative, correct. So our culture in which I was brought up is different than other thing. In Gujarat, you see, even single murder is very serious, correct. In many other states, correct, double murder and triple murder, they are routine. So in Gujarat, suppose we say in bail applications, I may tell you, or some other things, correct, that 302, a murder. Our mindset is that. So I may refuse the bail also, some may grant the bail also. That does not mean that I am conservative. Correct? That conservative is because of my environment in which I was brought up.
The circumstances.
So the GN Sai Baba case hearing, for example, sir, an urgent hearing was held by Supreme Court in a special sitting. So this, when the Supreme Court has itself time and again through its judgment spoken about the importance of individuals' liberty and also the presumption of innocence. How justified was it for the Supreme Court to hold a special urgent sitting on a Saturday only to reverse an order of liberty? And in addition to that, sir, the case was listed before you by the Chief Justice of India, of course. But were you satisfied that a case for urgency was made out in that particular case?
It's not a question of my satisfaction. Correct. Bench was constituted by the Honorable Chief Justice. Honorable Chief Justice at relevant time, correct, thought it fit that it is an urgent matter. And when you are talking about liberty, correct, one has to consider the liberty, correct, vis-a-vis the national interest. I am not justifying anything. I am not commenting upon the merits of the matter. It is just sub judice before that.
Yeah.
I am on the urgency matter.
Yeah. So
far the bench is concerned, once the bench is constituted and the Honorable Chief Justice constitutes the bench, as an obedient soldier, I have to accept it. I have to sit in the courtroom. I have no other alternative.
I think
it was not my satisfaction that there was any urgency or not. I had no choice at all. I had no option.
No, I think you faced a lot of criticism for the order in the GN Sai Baba case. But I believe the Chief Justice had approached other Supreme Court judges before constituting the bench with
you. Are right.
Is that...
And it is not that state the bench, particular bench was constituted. After consulting other judges who were available, correct, they might have their, you see, other problems. They might be out of country, out of city, some other prior commitment, correct. Thereafter I was, will you sit? I was not knowing that this is the matter.
You were not aware of
what the case was about? Some matter is there, urgent matter. On Saturday, the brother saw you have to sit. Okay. And even otherwise, on Saturday, Sunday, even in Gujarat High Court also, correct? I have sat many times and decided the matters. Some urgent matters were there. Correct? Some metro rail project matter was there. It was stuck. Correct? And both the sides mentioned, yes, sir, this is a great importance matter, contract matter, tender matter. Correct? And because of the stay order, correct? Ultimately, our project will be is going to suffer. Then I told, I am ready to sit on Saturday and Sunday also. Because sir, both of them said that we are ready, sir.
No, I think the reason why people say it's unusual is because a lot of time the Supreme Court, or any court for that matter, is constituted urgently when it's an issue of denial of liberty.
No,
Yeah.
no, no.
But in this case, to reverse an order which had allowed for his release, I think that's the reason why people are not satisfied.
That depends upon somebody's perception. Correct? But nothing is true.
But on the urgency aspect, it was not your decision.
It cannot be.
Correct.
It can never be.
It was the decision of the Chief Justice.
So, in the past, when you were Chief Justice of the Patna High Court, your praises or your remarks about the Prime Minister had garnered a lot of social media commentary. Now, there's nothing to suggest that that has in any way affected your judgments. But in hindsight, if you look back, did you at any point regret making those statements?
Why the question of regret? Huh? What wrong I said? Correct? My one side is different and judicial side is different. Anybody can point out, correct, that because of 1, 2, 3, 4 reasons, correct, it has ultimately affected my decision making on judicial side.
Yeah.
Nobody can. If I have done something wrong, then there is a question of regret.
Correct.
So, do you still stand by what you said though?
Definitely. Stand by means what?
Do you still agree with your
I
statement?
think your tenure as the Gujarat High Court judge had coincided during the time when Prime Minister Narendra Modi was the Chief Minister in Gujarat then, right?
Maybe.
Did you have any working relationship with him then? What was it like? I mean, I'm just candidly trying to ask you what is your opinion?
On judicial side, there is no question of working together except
on the
some administrative side work is
Correct.
there, or some legal services authority work is there. But by the time I was in the legal services authority, correct, I think he became the Honorable Prime Minister. Therefore, and see, as my entire career as a judge, there is no question of any close relation with on political side.
With any executive authority for that matter.
We have to perform our duty as a judge. And I perform my duty as a judge.
Correct.
And with emphasis, I can say, without fear, favor, or ill will.
There is nothing on record to suggest in any matter that there has been any sort of influence in any of your cases. I'll 100% say that. But at the same time, I think the reason why there was so much criticism when you praised him.
Criticism, 1 minute, the criticism by whom? Only few.
Correct. Obviously.
How many out of 140 crores? How many? Correct? And criticism, we are not, see, as a judge, we are not here to answer each and everything. It is his perception, it is his thinking. Ultimately, you have to act as per your conscience. Correct? And I have worked, correct, and performed my duty as per my conscience. Then why should I worry about criticism from only few persons?
What is your opinion of the criticism that judges nowadays face? There is so much social media commentary. And it's very often said that you should criticize the judgment but not the judge. But I don't think that line is drawn anywhere right now.
You are absolutely right.
There is so much criticism.
In fact, I am thankful to you for asking this question. You should criticize the judgment, but not the judge. Because I said that so far the judge is concerned, he has nothing personal. Correct? Whatever the matter is placed, whatever the constitution, what are the facts, correct, he delivers the judgment. Some person, correct, busybody, correct, or some NGOs, they don't like some particular view or the judgment. They started criticizing. At the same time, those who have nothing to do, correct, they start criticizing without knowing anything. They don't know even the facts also.
Do you think the UAPA itself might be prone to certain misuse by the agency, because of what's happening in the ground, on the ground that we see. Do you think that there is any scope of changes to be brought either in the UAPA or even in laws like the PMLA, where it's more difficult for somebody, it's an uphill battle for somebody to try and get some relief for themselves?
See, sister, there are number of judgments of the Supreme Court that abuse or misuse of any provision, you can't declare the law, correct, as unconstitutional. If any particular action or act, correct, is not in accordance with law, it can be challenged before the court of law and it can be struck down. But that cannot be a ground to challenge the constitutionality. You must have seen this. I am not here to support my judgment or views. Whatever is there in the judgment, I am telling. Correct? That UAPA and PMLA both are in the larger national interest enactment. UAPA is a particular, whoever acts against the interest of the nation, correct? He can be booked and he can be prosecuted under the UAPA. It is not, reasoning are also given why that particular provision, correct, is not ultra vires. Knowing full well that a particular association is indulging into the activity against the interest of the nation, because everybody, when a citizen of India, correct, its paramount consideration should be first the interest of the nation, national interest is should. Knowing full well that this association is acting against the interest of the nation and is declared as a banned, still you continue the affiliation. What does it suggest?
So not just UAP, even otherwise recently we have seen political parties claiming that investigating agencies like CBI or ED are capable of, not just capable, are in fact being misused according to them by the government. Do you think that's possible with how the law is? Do you have an opinion on that? Is it possible for the government to use these investigating agencies to maybe stifle dissent in the country?
No. See, that cannot be there. It is the duty of the investigating agency, correct, to unearth the truth. And during that investigation, correct, something, you see, some accused or some persons who are involved, they feel that they are being harassed, go to the court. Within 24 hours from arrest, he will be produced before the magistrate. There are other remedies available. There are other constitutional remedies available. Then there is the question of making any grievance. Ultimately, at every stage, because see, it is the right of the investigating agency to investigate and to make allegations and counter allegation at the threshold when investigation is going on. It will be demoralizing the investigating agency. You have got the remedies available. Suppose you have not committed an offence as you feel, go to the High Court. Charge sheet is filed, file an application for discharge. There are so many remedies available. But at the threshold you say no. And this is many a times you see these such allegations are there so that the investigating agency is demoralized.
So there was a time when you were a High Court judge and your transfer was recommended to the Madhya Pradesh High Court, which eventually did not go through. But from then, now you've been a member of the Supreme Court Collegium itself. As a member of the Collegium, is it ever frustrating when there is so much work that the judges do to send names and the government does not appoint them or sit on them endlessly?
That is not happening frequently or usually.
But it's happening in some cases.
Some cases, individual case it may happen. There must be some valid reasons, maybe valid reasons also. But it is a, you see, individual case to case basis. Otherwise, the system is working very well between the Collegium, Supreme Court and the government. And see, by and large, all appointments are made in Supreme Court also, in High Courts also. But many a times on individual case, it takes some little bit more time because ultimately some IB report, other things, so many other considerations are there which are required to be considered.
But there must be some level of discontentment again amongst the judges? Because recently we even saw in the recent collegium resolutions, the collegium has put out details about the objections that the centre had regarding certain appointments. They've put out details of the IB and the raw reports. So is this something, because you were part of the collegium with Justice Chandrachud's tenure, so do you think that this is something that is a welcome move towards greater transparency, or do you think that it should not be put out in the public domain?
Transparency is okay, but many a times it is...
No, the reason I ask you is because the biggest criticism against the collegium system is that it's opaque. Nobody knows what is happening and how judges are being appointed.
No, so far as that is concerned, there are so many things which should not be in the public domain at all. Correct? It should be within the system itself. So it is better sometimes it is not disclosed in the interest of that candidate also. We are not concerned with the public or public perception. We have to consider the interest of the institution as a whole. A particular judge is working, suppose his function is not considered, correct? And if the reasons are given, it will affect, correct? He is working in the High Court because he is still continued. That is the reason.
Are you in favor of the collegium system? Do you think it's a well-oiled machine, it's working well?
So long as a better system is not coming, the present system is working very well. But in every system, maybe this collegium system or any other system, correct, there are always possibility of something better. But that does not mean that present system is bad.
So what changes do you think we can bring about in the collegium system to make it better?
It's working very well. Only thing, the communication many times between the government and there should be open discussion.
Okay.
So, but
in-house open discussion.
Okay.
So with government not clearing the recommendations that are made by the collegium, what we've also seen is the judges who are involved, the judges whose names have been recommended have often been on the receiving end of several speculations or criticisms. Like even in your case, when the transfer did not go through, there were speculations and claims that the same was happening because of your alleged proximity to the ruling party then. So do you think it's fair to the judges involved in question? How did you deal with those speculations back then?
It's not happening at all. There is no question of it. There may be some delay for some consultation process is going on, some other inquiry, means IB must be going on, correct?
Yeah.
And some might be there in the mind of government, some equal, representation, all these things. Government is also a part of the system. But ultimately, everything is going on well. Correct?
Yeah. So do you think, as far as post-retirement jobs are concerned, do you think it's okay? Do you agree that it's okay for judges to take up post-retirement jobs, or do you think there should be a cooling off period right after they retire as judges?
Very, 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 personal, question is asked. Therefore, I would not like to answer that at this stage. But I may tell only one thing, that if a judge has worked for 19 years continuously, day and night, correct? Thereafter, because 62 or 65 is nothing at present. And you have got the experience, you are healthy, correct? You have worked for all these things, correct? Why not to take any assignment, correct?
Yeah.
But it maybe you take some rest and thereafter accept it. And nothing wrong in it, accepting it. Otherwise, if that is so, correct? So many tribunals will not function. Most of the tribunal judicial officers are required. Judicial members are there. ITAT, NCLT, DRT, CAT, take any NGT. And he started since like 2-3 years. When we went to, I think it started when we went to Russia in some conference. From there he said, and all throughout, he said, tiger कोई भी काम tiger को दे देगा, tiger कर देगा. So that is how he started. But it is his sheer love and affection and respect for me.
So any regrets from the past?
No, no regret.
No regret.
No regret at all. I am parting with full satisfaction that I have done my work. In my account, 714 reportable judgments.
Is 714 the correct number?
714 or 712. Correct number. And approximately more than 1,200 total judgments I have delivered. That can only be done. No, he is a Supreme Court judge. In High Court, I have disposed of number of matters. So I have no regret. I am going with full satisfaction, but only one regret.
What's that?
If I have got some more time, I would be able to serve the nation and the country and the institution as a whole.
Perfect. Thank you so much, sir, for taking time out, speaking to India Today. That was Justice M.R. Shah, exclusive on India Today, 2 days after his retirement from the top court of the country, after serving almost 5 years as a judge of the Supreme Court of India. With Shrishti Ojha, this is Nalini Sharma signing off for India Today.